Dark days, overwhelmed, trapped in a maze. Small business owner, stress had me in a daze. Every problem piled up, couldn't catch a break. Thought I couldn't make it, my dreams were at stake. But then I found a group that changed my whole perspective. Our success group of a community so effective. We all chasing that dream, sharing struggles and fears. They understood my journey, wiped away my tears. Together we broke through, we rise above. No more feeling set, we're fueled by love. Our small business is shining, reaching new heights with the support of our success group. We're taking flight with our word strong, with vision so clear, building our dreams with no more fear. Together we're resilient, unstoppable force with our success group. Dreams were at stake, but then I found a group that changed my whole perspective. Our success group, community so effective. We are chasing that dream, sharing struggles and fears. They understood my journey, wiped away my tears. Together we broke through, we rise above. No more feeling set, we're fueled by love. Our small business is shining, reaching new heights with the support of our success group. We're taking flight with our word strong, with vision so clear, building our dreams with no more fear. Together we're resilient, unstoppable force with our success group. Dark days, overwhelmed, trapped in a maze. Small business owner, stress had me in a daze. Every problem piled up, couldn't catch a break. Thought I couldn't make it, my dreams were at stake. But then I found a group that changed my whole perspective. Our success group of a community so effective. We all chasing that dream, sharing struggles and fears. They understood my journey, wiped away my tears. Together we broke through, we rise above. No more feeling set, we're fueled by love. Our small business is shining, reaching new heights with the support of our success group. We're taking flight with our word strong, with vision so clear, building our dreams with no more fear. Together we're resilient, unstoppable force with our success group.
All right. Welcome into the OSG Marketing Roadmap Plan with Confidence. We got a little music going. We're kind of getting the energy up. Maybe it's been a long week for you. Maybe it's been an awesome week for you. We're in the home stretch here before the weekend, but you know what? Every day that we get to be a business owner is the weekend. So let's jump in here. Let me know who's tuned in live and say hello. We'll get the music out of the way here. So we'll fade that out nicely here. So there we go. All right. Well, welcome. Thank you guys so much for being here. Let me make sure I get the link in there correctly here. Let's make sure that you guys have, awesome. Happy Friday, Michelle. And you're very welcome. Thank you, Julie, for sharing over there in the Facebook Messenger group. If you are not part of the Facebook Messenger group and you want to be, I just started a Messenger group so we could like kind of quickly, in case somebody couldn't get in or yesterday, Jerry helped me make sure that people knew that this was recorded, that we're in there, or like whatever. We've already shared some wonderful information. Julie shared yesterday. She had celebrated that she got some great feedback on her packaging of her bears that are cute and beautiful and amazing. And she shared what she did. And so as business owners, we can lift each other up. A rising tide lifts all boats is something I truly believe in. So, make sure that if you're not, just send me a message and I'll add you. Everybody that I knew that I was connected to on Facebook, I added, and you can take yourself out of there. I don't want to flood you with messages. I know sometimes we get a lot. So whatever's right for you. The next thing I want to make sure of before we dive in here is that you guys have actually printed a copy here. So the workbook and template. So it says 19 pages of information that you can go through, and all the things that we're talking about and teaching and working on, you can kind of follow along there. We'll be talking a little bit about it, but let me make sure you guys know again what the strategy is here. So yesterday we talked about clarity and getting clarity on ourselves as a company, what we desire, and then what we're good at, what our gifts are, as well as who our ideal customers are. Today, we're going to now shift over to planning with confidence, and how do we make sure that our message is going to hit and make the most impact. We're not trying to go with quantity. What we're trying to do is go with quality. And so that's going to be the idea today. And the whole point here is I want to give you all the information. I'm going to share what I believe is the way that we can really create some impact in the next 8 weeks with our marketing. And then I also want to give you the tool in the form of that workbook that you can then, to do a plan. There's a template for you to create your own roadmap and have a plan that all you're going to have to do after that is execute. Right. And so that's a plan. We're not going to go step by step through the template per se. That's your responsibility. Now, at the end, I will share an opportunity to get that done tomorrow morning, but I'm going to hold on to that for right now. So appreciate everybody checking that out. Barb, it's not working on your end. Okay. I don't know if that's, if anybody else is experiencing that where the template link isn't working. I will also just post it really quickly in the messenger group. And I think you're in there too, Barb, but you know what? It is not working because I forgot a letter. I deleted the F at the end. Okay, let's try that one more time. Thank you, Barb, for helping me out there. Okay, try that link. The F of PDF was not there. And so, of course, it's not going to work when you don't have that because it is a PDF file. Okay, well, thank you. Good. I'm glad we got that solved and taken care of. So that is the first part here is I want to make sure that you have that and you understand what our process is. I want to give you the information. I want to give you the tools, and then you're able to take this and run with it. If you'd like more support, we'll talk about that at the end. Awesome. Thank you, Barb, for letting me know. I appreciate that. Okay. Now, what I'd love to ask from you guys, what did you take from yesterday? Right? We shared a few takeaways at the end yesterday, but I'm curious, any new epiphanies overnight? Did you go through the workbook anymore? What are you doing right now? What are you implementing? And this is going to be helpful for all of us, right? Okay. So I see Becky's in here, so Becky's doing this. Yeah. How am I going to implement that for my business? Right. Oh, and I'm going to share this, and then maybe somebody can take and run with that. A rising tide does truly lift all boats. So I'm curious what it was that you took away from yesterday's session. And so while you're doing that, the other thing I'd love to ask of you is, since we had a chance to talk yesterday, in the 24 hours since then, or I guess 23 hours now, anything new to celebrate? Any celebrations? And I'm going to start because I get the microphone, so I'm going to start off. And I survived and actually had a really good time playing six games. They call them sets in volleyball. I played 6 sets of volleyball last night from about 7:30 to 9:30. And I was feeling every bit of my 50 years of age, but I hung with some young kids and played really good volleyball. So I'm very proud of myself. So that's my celebration. We're going to break out the pom-poms. What do you guys got to celebrate? We'd love to hear from it. If you guys recall, that's where the packaging thing came out of too. So bring it. Thank you, Julie. Yes, it does feel awesome to be able to go, yeah, okay, I can still, they are definitely at a different athletic level than I am, but fortunately my years of experience helped me hang with those young guys, and we had a really good time last night. So awesome takeaways, what we can celebrate together, right? And so I'm going to leave that there. We'll come back. I'll kind of get to them as I can here. If you guys want to share at any point during the presentation, go for it. But I'm going to dive in because, again, I'm trying to make this 45 minutes. And, Karen's got a perfect. Thank you, Karen. She says, I love the saying from Seth Godin about selling to people that don't want to hear from us. Makes perfect sense. And I love how you talked about challenges. I had several epiphanies yesterday. Thank you. High five, Karen. Boom. Love it. That is awesome in every way. Thank you for sharing that. So hopefully, let's see if I can go back to that. I think that was this slide. Yep, there we go. So Seth Godin said, selling to people who actually want to hear from you is more effective than interrupting strangers who don't. Julie says, Karen, I agree. Love it. Love it. Love it. Awesome. I agree as well. So thank you, Karen, for sharing that. All right. So let's get back to it here. I'm going to go ahead and start diving in. If you guys do have the template and workbook open, you'll want to move down to page 8 or turn to page 8 there. And we're going to dive right into this by talking about messages that resonate. Right. And you see I3 here. Now, this is a idea that I have borrowed from my business coach, Jake Ballantyne. So I have to make sure that I give him credit for this because I really think this is important for us. A lot of times when we're going out there to do marketing, we just want to go blah, right? And then going back to that quote from Seth Godin, we're basically going blah and hoping to interrupt strangers that don't want to hear from us. And again, I'm not trying to belittle the marketing efforts that you're putting in there, but I know for me, a lot of times I'm just posting for the sake of posting, right? And the idea here is we want to get away from that. We want to be intentional. And so if we can understand that a message that does these 3 things will be very helpful, we're in a really good place. So here and we'll get to your celebration in a second. I'm going to put a star by that, Karen. All right. So let's talk about I3 real quick, and then we'll get back to the celebration here as well. The first I of I3 is interesting. We need to be interesting. And sometimes we go, oh, am I really interesting? You absolutely are. Your uniqueness, no matter what that is, and no matter what you believe about it, that's what's interesting. Humans are interested in uniqueness. And so if you share your uniqueness, it is going to go a long way for you. So think about what sets you apart, right? When we thought about our ideal customers from yesterday, what is that link? What is that connection in the values, right? Are you offering creative solutions? Do you have entertaining content? For me, a silly dad joke, right? Okay, Michelle Wilson, I know you're here. I'm looking at my calendar that she gave me. I appreciate you very much. Here we go. This is a dad joke calendar. I told the person who cut in line that I'm now after them. All right, you get it? All right, let's see here. What lies on its back 100 feet in the air? A dead centipede. Right? 100 feet on a centipede. Okay. Sorry. Entertaining content. Do you have a unique perspective? Uncommon mindset is what I like to talk about. What is it that you have? And again, you have it. You're just so close to it, you're not seeing it. So give yourself that space and grace to come back and say, what's interesting about you? Right? And then from that space, share stories that highlight your experiences and your successes. Create visuals or engaging things that really, again, highlight what makes you interesting and unique. And maybe it's an infographic about why working with you is the way to go or something along those lines, right? Just when you're trying to offer valuable insights that point directly into who you are or who your business is as a personality. So being interesting means adding value in a way that feels fresh, exciting. It's not just about what you say, but how you say it. So think about that as you're starting to kind of craft what we're going to be talking about, what your message is going to be. And so the first I is be interesting. The second I is be interested, right? Now, this is where we have to also make sure that our message tells our audience that we are genuinely interested in them and their lives and their communities and their challenges. So it's about asking questions. It's about being curious. It's about learning about their goals and their struggles. Every single one of, and I've been doing this I came to this epiphany about 3 years ago. And so maybe before 3 years ago, but every time I put a form out there for people to sign up for something or for them to, get a freebie or whatever the case may be, I've intentionally added a space that says, what's one of your biggest challenges that you're faced with in your business? Because I am genuinely interested in what challenges you are facing. Therefore, I can then kind of meet you where you're at, right? And so that's a way to perfect. I'm gonna highlight that one too, Michelle. Thank you. And Julia, I'm highlighting yours. Thank you. And Merch for Success. Hello. Thank you for checking in from Vegas. So The second I is about being interested. Make sure that you're engaging with your audience through the comments, right? A lot of times we'll post on social media, we'll send out email blasts, and it's all about us going, let me just keep pushing stuff on you. Here's my sale, here's my product, here's my thing. But the reality is that's only half of what social media is all about. That's only half of what marketing is all about. The other half, which in my mind might be the most important half, is that you've got to then get in and engage with your audience, right? And engaging with your audience doesn't mean smashing the like button 100 times. It means actually getting in there and saying that you appreciate them, asking them a question, going deeper, right? And I'm not going to say I'm perfect at this, but I am very intentional about always trying to reply to every comment that I can find that is somebody on something that I've posted, or if I've been tagged. And yes, sometimes it's just a, hey, thank you. But as often as I can, I want to take that conversation a little bit deeper. So really try to make an effort to understand what's working for them and what's not. Following up is a huge opportunity. If we go back to this idea that we want quality over quantity, this is possible. But when we're only focused on quantity, how many people can I reach, then we miss the quality. And this is really where you can actually gain quantity, is when people see that you're interested in quality, they go, ooh, that looks good. I want a piece of that. I'd like to be part of that conversation. I want to be in that community. Right. And so we need to make sure that we are following up. And yes, it's going to take some work. And yes, it's going to feel like nobody's listening, but it will slowly start to build. And here I am. I'm actually telling myself these exact same things. Just keep at it. Right. Our Facebook group, for example, we've got about 240 people in there right now. That's awesome, right? Oh man, but if I compare myself to others, they've got 5,000, they've got 10,000 people. But then I go into those other groups and I go, oh, nobody's saying anything. There's no deep conversation here. I'm not sure why all these people are in here, right? So it really is about just understanding, taking an interest in your potential customers, build that trust, and that's going to create meaningful relationships. And from that is where your success is going to come, and people are going to be attracted to that. And then the third I here is be inviting, right? So hopefully you've captured their attention through being interesting and being interested. But then the part that sometimes we miss is we have to go, okay, now I'd like to invite you in, right? So if I've had a conversation with somebody somewhere on social media, email, text, whatever, the part that we can miss is going, great, conversation has come to a conclusion. I don't want to bother them. But what you need to do is you need to go, hey, this has been awesome. Can I invite you into my community? Can I invite you to stop by my store? Can I invite you to check out my website if you'd like to learn more? Right? And think about that invitation not as a, hey, I'm trying to sell them. Think about that invitation as giving them an opportunity to partake in your gifts. That's simply what it is. When you think of a call to action, you might hear that a lot in, I got to have 3 call to actions on my email marketing campaign. And I 100% agree with that. But we think of call to action as this transaction or this salesy type thing. But actually a call to action is just inviting them to the next step. How can we deepen this opportunity to work together? And so what we've got to do is we've got to stop beating around the bush. And again, I'm speaking to the choir here, I'm preaching to myself. And I'm sure I'm preaching to a lot of you guys in the same manner. But we got to just be clear, be direct about what you're inviting them to do and why it will benefit them. Come check out my website. I think you're going to really love the new product that we just launched. I'd love to get your feedback on it. Right? Does that feel salesy? No, that feels like an invitation. But if you go, well, yeah, can I give you 10% off? Like if they're doing you a favor by taking you up on this call to action, this is a mutual beneficial opportunity for them to understand. So make that invitation simple and easy to follow through, and then keep it personal, right? It should feel like a natural extension of the relationship that you're building. All right. So from that space, right, I want to start there in this whole idea about creating our plan and what our message is going to be. And so that's the 3 I's. Cool. I love that. Cool. Barb, I'm just going to pop that up there real quick. I've been looking at geo-targeting or geolocation marketing to get information out to local area. events. I love that. I love that. Great stuff, Barb. Thank you for sharing that. Okay. Before I get to the next slide, I did want to just, oh man, we're gonna go. But I do want to get the celebrations in here. Michelle says my celebration is grab my mother-in-law's attention with a post finally, and she made purchase from me and slept pretty good. Love the dad joke. I love it. Thank you, Michelle. And let's see here. Karen says, oh, talked to an old customer yesterday that will. I love that she changed that terminology. I talked to an old customer yesterday that will become a returning client. Yes. Awesome, Karen. And then Julia said, my takeaway from yesterday was focus on your top 20% and don't worry about the bottom 20% because they will drop away. Love it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Perfect. I wanted to make sure we got those things. All right. So let's get into the next part of this. And from here, we can scroll. This will be at the bottom, actually, of page 8 if you're following along in the workbook. But all that stuff that we worked on with the ideal customer yesterday, we need to get this into a format where it's front and center before we start making our plan. So I like to call this your ideal customer blueprint. And so just start filling in some things here. We've got some different boxes. These are suggestions. Make what's right for you. I think these things are important, and I'm going to explain why here real quickly. But we need to have everything in one place. So as we go about crafting our plan, then it's easy to say, okay, what's now? How does this fit into the overall mix? And so having this ideal customer blueprint is a fantastic way to have that all in one place. So talking about the products and services needed. What does your product or service do for your ideal customer, right? Going back to yesterday where we're solving a problem or filling a need, make that very clear in your blueprint here. What problem does it solve? What the needs? Even going so far, how does your product or service improve your customer's life or work? Right, Julie, with your bear, right? You've improved somebody's life. And yes, it's a bear, right? If we just looked at the thing, we could discount it. But the reality is, and I know because I could tell by the way you talked about it, you know that you're improving somebody's life, right? That's a hug, maybe in a time of need. That's just a warm reminder that somebody's thinking about them, right? So how are you improving your customers' lives? And then location, we talked about that yesterday. Just what Barb was talking about here. When you know their location, then you can actually market and target, right? So if I'm geo targeting for local events, that's one thing. But then also, where do they show up online? Where do they make their buying decisions? Try to get as much information in as possible. Yep, there you go. Thank you. Julie says, yes, it's all about comfort and joy. Love it. All right. Timing, right? What has to happen? So Julie yesterday was talking about making the holiday shopping opportunity easier. So you need to be really clear. When do they start shopping, right? Are you targeting somebody like me who waits to the last minute? I'm trying not to. I'm trying to improve, but fortunately, I have a wonderful wife, so she really helps me with that. Or are you targeting people that are on top of it, and gift giving is their love language, and so they're looking at things. Maybe they're doing Christmas in July, or I was talking to my friend Becky Kotzer the other day, and she was talking about how she's already got some of her gifts purchased, and we're like, whoa, you were incredible, right? So that type of thing. So the timing of when your customers are looking to be part of it. The persona avatar details, I think we talked about those pretty detailed yesterday, so I'm just going to leave that there. Desired benefits, again, kind of a little bit like the products and services, but again, just start thinking differently. The more information you have, the more perspective you have, and the easier solutions become. And then talking about what their objectives and fears are. Why might they say no, right? And it's okay for them to say no, by the way, right? A no just means next. No, next, right? And sometimes no and next means I just need to ask them again, because we have to connect with them with our message, but also timing. I've had plenty of times where people have said no, and then out when it was in my time frame, but when it came to their time frame, then they came back and said, hey, now I'm ready, and I remembered you because you gave me value, right? And so that kind of thing. And then this last little bit here, I'll tell a little story to go along with it, but I would really recommend naming your ideal customer, and here's why, right? Like if I say a name, and I'm just going to pick some random name out of the air. And I'm trying to not pick somebody's name that is here, but you are the people that I think about. So this is really hard. But let's say Mike. Let's just say I threw out the name Mike, and maybe there's a Mike here, and I apologize if I'm not trying to pick on anybody, by the way. But we have a certain, like when I say the name Mike, for us, it's going to resonate, right? And it's going to be different for everybody because my experience with mics in the past is going to be different than your experiences with mics in the past. So this has got to be a name that resonates with you. And here's just a hack, a quick hack. If you have somebody that you're like, this is the person I love doing business with, like we talked about yesterday, I just need 100 more of those, put that person's name in there, because now you can focus. The reason I do this is because I want you to focus on having a conversation with them in all of your marketing messages, right? And so what name resonates? Now, the story I was going to tell is when my mom decided to name my brother and I, here's what she did. She had a list of names that were like kind of what she was thinking about. And she went and she stood on the back porch and she yelled out our names like she was getting us to come in for dinner. Now, I know that was a different time where we would actually go outside. So maybe today I'm going to text my kid. No, I'm just kidding. But she wanted that name that was going to resonate with the person that she wanted my brother and I to become. Right. And so my name became Aaron because that's what resonated with her. My brother became Davin because that's what resonated with her. Also was 2000, the movie 2001 Space Odyssey or something like that was where Davin came from, I believe. Anyhow, so have a name for him. All right. So ideal customer blueprint. That's a perfect place to start. The next thing we need to get to, again, we've talked about the platforms. So now as we start working on this plan, and I'm going to keep going. So we're going to kind of move through this here. But when we talk about the plan, we need to figure out what the best place is for us to be, right? And here's the problem. There's so many options. There's so many different opportunities out there that it's really difficult, right? So we might think about all of the marketing we could do, like every single bit, right? I can be on TikTok. I can be on Facebook. I can be on LinkedIn. I can do Pinterest. What's the new one? Lemonade. Wherever. Google marketing, email, text, all the marketing we could do. Awesome. Fine. Understood. We need to narrow that down. Well, what seems good, but does it resonate? Right? Okay, great. All of those things I just said, but I am a little bit more comfortable on Facebook and LinkedIn for me. What is it for you? And so now we start getting rid of some of those things. And then will that particular platform enhance and feed into the focus, right? Like I could be on TikTok, but that platform doesn't resonate with my message. Other people very well could. And so it doesn't mean that TikTok's bad. It means that TikTok's not right for me. TikTok could be perfectly right for you, right? And I'm using social, but this could be anything. If your marketing needs to be more about going to networking events locally, or like I said, email marketing or text, or just TV ads or radio ads or online forums or banner ads, right? We can go all over the place. So will it enhance and feed into your focus, who it is that you're trying to meet, and what is your message, what we talked about yesterday? And then lastly, focus, right? So you can, and you certainly should, let me get rid of the word should. You can, and it will benefit you to post something and then share on other platforms and maybe pick up a few people here and there. But your focus needs to be on one particular platform. Where is the place that you want to guide people to the most, right? Well, here's my Facebook page. Here's my YouTube channel. Here's this. No, when you meet somebody new, where do you send them, right? Like maybe it's a Facebook group. That's what it is for me. When I meet somebody, I want to bring them in my community. The first thing I want to share with them is go to osg.link/group, because those are the type of people that I want to have conversations with. So it's important to note that we want quality over quantity. Marketing is all about the connection. So the research has shown that the average number of touch points a person needs, a business or a consumer, doesn't matter, before they make a buying decision has actually gone up. So when I first started my career, the number was 7, and it had been 7 touch points for a very long time. And over the last 3, 4, 5 years, that's grown exponentially. And the last time I checked, the latest study shows 21 touch points before we make a buying decision. So yes, quantity is certainly going to be part of the strategy, but if your megaphone approach is what you're going for, it's not going to work. So the quality of those touches, there we go. Karen just said now it's 22, right? I bet you check back in 5 minutes, it's 23. But my friend Eric Campbell here is a really great example of this, right? He's so smart. He's great at sharing content in a really deep way, right? And his sharing is always in a long form. He's like, man, he does an hour and a half long solo show every week about a topic, right? And for free. So he's way more successful on channels like YouTube or even in his own blog. So for him to go, okay, well, my focus is going to be TikTok or X, he can take some of the stuff that he does, break it down and post it on TikTok or X or whatever. But his focus should be on YouTube or blogging, right? So think about what the quality is for you, right? The next is, where are you going to get the most bang for the buck? And this is both your time and money, right? So focus in on platforms that are already working for you. We are so interested in the shiny object that we got to go, oh, I heard about this Lemonade thing, I better go put all my effort into that. People keep telling me about alignables. I'm not suggesting that you don't go try these things out, but we're trying to get some real focused marketing for the next 8 weeks. So definitely play with those when you have time, but don't let that get away from your focus, and focus on the platforms that are working for you already and how can you amplify that, right? All right. So the next thing is leverage your strengths. So focus in on the platform that's going to highlight your natural abilities. Going back to my story about my buddy Eric, right? Again, YouTube, blogging, that highlights his strength of long form, deep, detailed content, right? But if your strengths are more fun and bubbly and high, okay, then yeah, TikTok, it could be right for you. So again, there's no right or wrong answer here. You've got to leverage your strength. And then lastly, and maybe most importantly, as you're trying to determine what platform you're going to focus on, is consistency is key. So once you've found the right platform, stick with it, right? You have to find a platform where you can be very comfortable posting every day, being consistently showing up every week, if that's the case. If you're going to do a weekly blog or newsletter, okay, better be a weekly blog or newsletter. So don't pick a platform that you're not real comfortable with. Oh gosh, I got to spend 20 hours editing a video and I don't really like it, but I'm doing it. Well, don't do it. Where can you be consistent? So identify what those platforms are that consistency is key. All right, let's see. Barb says, that's funny because my professor many years ago said it took 18 times for a person to digest the information and react. So 22 doesn't surprise me, especially with all the social media blitz. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Karen, I find it hard to identify my strengths. Okay. Well, there's some tools out there that we talked about yesterday, so hopefully those are helping. All right, I'm going to keep going here because I'm already feeling a little bit behind. Are you guys doing okay? If there's any questions, you guys see what we're doing though here, right? We're kind of going, okay, now we're going to start putting this plan together, but I got to make sure I know a few more things. I got my ideal customer blueprint. I picked out the platform that I'm going to focus on. There's no wrong answer, by the way, folks. So go with your gut here. Try it out, and then we'll make adjustments as we go. So that'll be coming. The next thing we got to do before we start writing our plan is we got to understand what our objective is here. If we don't know what our target is, right? Like, how can I aim for a bullseye when I don't know where the bullseye is? Right? Doesn't mean we have to hit the bullseye, and it doesn't mean that our arrow is going to go completely straight to the bullseye. Maybe we got to bounce it off a wall, which is fine, but at least I know which direction I'm heading in. So you guys see this acronym on the screen. Some of you might be familiar with it. It's a SMART goal or objective in this case. And real quick, the only difference between a goal to me is like kind of that that big picture North Star, what's leading me. An objective is just kind of like a thing that we're going to hit along the way, right? So we're going to celebrate it, but there's still work to be done, right? Where a goal is, okay, yes, there might still be some work to be done, but at least I know I'm kind of maybe on the downhill slope, or what I would call a turning point goal. So that's a whole different conversation that we'll probably talk about in January. All right. So the first S is specific. Right? We have to get very specific about what it is that you want this marketing to do for you. Between now and the end of the year, what's going to make you look back on January 1st and go, yes, I was successful. Very specifically, oh, my business did good. Okay, how do you measure that? Okay, my business gained 100 new customers. That's specific. We increased our revenue by 20%. That is specific. We donated $10,000 to a charity of my choice. That is specific. All right. So what is your objective? Start there. And what's the specific? Is it measurable? Same thing with specific, right? All of those examples I just gave, I can measure every single one of those. But growing my business, that's very objective. Like if I gave you an extra dollar, that grew your business. Do you feel like you achieved something? No. All right. So we have to make it very measurable too, and understand not only can we measure it, but how easy is it to measure, right? I can easily run numbers and say I got a 20% increase in revenue. I can easily look at where my list of customers is right now and see when I get to 100 more, right? But do you have a way to do that? And so that's the other part of measurable. You have to make sure you do that and are planning to do that. Attainable, we have to believe it. Right. So a lot of times people say fake it till you make it, but I believe the opposite of that is true. We need to believe it until we achieve it. And so we have to understand it's attainable. I want it to stretch me. I want to, okay, I got to put it in some work. I want to encourage myself. I want to inspire myself. But if it's so far out there that I don't believe it's going to happen, guess what? We're going to make sure that it doesn't happen because it's not attainable. Right. And so we've got to make sure that our goal is attainable. We've got to make sure it's relevant. Right. If your goal is to sell X number of products or X number of a certain type of product and you don't sell that product, right? If your goal is to, is it relevant? Is it relevant to you and what's happening? Is it relevant to your ideal customer? Right? Is it relevant to your brand? Is it relevant to your why or your reason? And then trackable, going back to the measurable part of it, like we talked a little bit there, but it also again have to really make sure that it's trackable and that we have an easy mechanism to track it. Right. Again, my goal is 100 new customers. Great. Now let's set up make it a check mark on the wall. Put 100 different spaces on a wall, maybe not right directly on your wall, but maybe you get whiteboard paper or like a board or something like that. And every 10 customers, you put a check mark up there and you celebrate and you get out some pom-poms and you go, yes, there's 10, only 90 more to go. Yes. Right. So trackable. And then the last bit is we need to have a budget. We need to understand how much time can we put to this. So that's part of the budget. You see there's a money symbol up there and a little clock symbol. We've got to do both, right? So do you have a marketing budget? Can you spend $100 over the next 8 weeks on some ads or maybe some help with creating content or whatever? And maybe you don't, and that's okay. That's absolutely okay. Maybe your budget is $0. No problem. You're still going to be able to get there. Just understand that you're going to have to increase your time potentially, right? So time and money. So put that in there. And if you're following along on the workbook here, that is on page 9 at the top. Also on page 9 is just to start putting in some ideas of what your offer is going to be. Maybe you've got a deal. You don't have to though, by the way. Just because we're trying to do marketing and promote something doesn't mean we have to put something on sale. Right. So what's your deal or offer? Basically just what's your call to action and then what specifically is that product or service that's all about. Again, we're just trying to get all the information in one area so we can have the idea. Now, as we continue to build out our plan, the next thing we need to look at is we need to kind of look at the big picture and understand some key dates. Now, I just went and found some really general, and you guys are all going to be like, okay, but you know what? There could be something specific for you. Maybe there's something specific in your town or your area. Depending on what you're doing, I'll try to bring up a couple other thoughts. If you guys have other thoughts about so we're looking at November and December. What are some key dates in here? And if I'm missing something, and I know I will be because I've only got 6 in here. So let's look at it. November 5th. I think for those of us in the United States here, this is a big day, right? The climate is a little interesting, and so we need some clarity. We need some understanding, right? So maybe we could look at this though from an opportunity to say, let's utilize this for our marketing, like a vote themed, right? Let's get out the vote and don't care which side you're on. It doesn't matter. The reality is we need to understand what's happening. And I think right now we're seeing a lot of people not making buying decisions because there's so much uncertainty as to what's going to happen after the election, right? And that may or may not be true for everybody. Maybe your ideal customers could care less about the election. But I'm hearing a lot of conversations about how some areas are a little soft, and a lot of people are pointing to that being the reason, and that's okay, right? Veterans Day is coming up on November 11th, so there's some opportunities to honor people and to promote why it's important to you to support veterans potentially, whatever. And so these key dates are not like, hey, you've got to do these things. These key dates are just, hey, let's think about kind of what things look like moving forward. Here's another one. World Kindness Day is November 14th, right? So maybe you're spreading more kindness and making sure people are aware of that and doing a challenge to how can we be kinder to each other, right? We may need it by the 14th, depending on what happens at the vote. Who knows, right? We've got then Thanksgiving Day, obviously, and so maybe that's really a time to just shut it down and spend time with family. But what comes after Thanksgiving Day? Black Friday, right? If you're somebody that does online sales, maybe this is an area for you it's the biggest shopping day of the year, right? And so this could be your key date to really hold on to, okay, this is where I'm going big. This is where I'm going to put all my effort. Or maybe it's Small Business Saturday, which comes up the next day on the 30th, right? And that's a big day for me. So I want to focus on small businesses and how do we support them? I do a podcast every week called Small Business Saturdays. And because I believe every Saturday should be Small Business Saturday. In fact, I believe every day that ends in Y should be about focusing on small businesses. So, all right, let's look at December real quick here. Keeping on with our Thanksgiving, Black Friday, Small Business Saturday. Then we've got Cyber Monday coming up after that. And again, if you're in e-commerce or doing anything on e-commerce, there's probably something that is worth kind of putting into your marketing plan here. Giving Tuesday. This is where you focus on charitable causes and opportunities to give back. So what causes is near and dear to your heart? And there'll be a lot of conversation around giving on Tuesday, the 3rd of December. December 15th, they're calling free shipping days. And even though it's hilarious to me because I know it and I still get caught by it, free shipping is not free. We're paying for it. We know deep down that we're paying for it, but just the fact that somebody's saying we get free shipping, we love it. So maybe December 15th is free shipping day for you. And that's to your last minute Christmas shoppers. Okay. Speaking of Christmas Eve is the 24th, Christmas Day, 25th. We're all clear on that. New Year's Eve, 31st, right? So what are some key dates? What are some key dates for you personally? What are some key dates for us in general that you'd like to share over the next couple months? What should we be aware of? I think one thing that we should really think about while you guys are typing some things in the comments here is to understand what your deadlines are, get those out there early and often. And here's what I want to challenge you guys to do as you're sharing. Okay. If somebody's doing a Christmas gift, for example, and they need it there by the 24th, the 25th, right? With Christmas being in the middle of the week, shipping is actually going to be a little easier this year than it being on like a Monday or a Sunday or something like that. But okay, it's got to be there by the 24th. Well, when can you confidently say that it's going to get there? Because unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on which way you look at this, people have this connection with that date. And even though the gift is still meaningful on the 26th, it's not as meaningful, right? So you got to come up with when your cutoff is going to be that you can comfortably get the product to their intended recipient by the right date. Now, I don't want you guys to be out there going, I'm just going to be hardcore about this. Yes, you should be hardcore about this, but you got to spin it. You got to understand that there's a reason why the customer wants to order on time too, because you want to make sure, there's things that are outside of your control, the shipping, the, different things like that. One year I was working with a company that did a lot of gifts, and the cutoff day for getting stuff out the door and to people on time with the shipping companies, that day we had a snowstorm where we couldn't get a pickup. Right. It's like, oh boy. Right. So we then had to upgrade everything to a 3-day or 2-day ship because we were like, oh my gosh, we guaranteed our customers that it'd be by then. Right. So what's in it for the customers? Why does it make sense? Right. And if you're getting that out there, starting to talk about that in November, you're starting to talk about that even here at the end of this month. But why is that important for the customer? Right. I'm somebody that waits till December 24th to do my shopping. But if somebody's going, Aaron, you really need to do that quicker, I go, oh, yep. You know what, Julia, you're right. I just remember Julia talking about that yesterday. Yep. There we go. Cool. So let's bring in some of your guys' stuff here that you're sharing. Hanukkah begins sunset on Wednesday, December 25th, ends nightfall on Thursday, January 2nd. Love it. Thank you for sharing that. Michelle, yep, what we were just talking about, order deadlines, Thanksgiving, gratitude. Yep. Thanksgiving. Yep. Love it. Love it. Love it. Perfect. Okay. So that's the next thing we want to look at in our plan is just look at the big picture, understand what's kind of happening, put some dates around it, and get the information out there early and often. And then the final piece here is we need to then, even though we're doing this 8-week sprint, we still need to be evaluating and adjusting as we go. So when we're looking at this, right, what do we need to be doing? Like what's our roadmap? What's our action plan to be able to evaluate and adjust? Well, the first thing is we just have to have a way to gather data. As I said, we got to measure this. So do you have a way to gather data? Oh, love it. Michelle says my social media post today was my Christmas order deadline. Perfect. So you got to have a way to gather data. That's first. And again, if you're following along in the template, we're kind of getting into, okay, so we just said, now we're going to start making the roadmap, right? And so we're not going to talk too much about the roadmap here, but just understand that part of this is, again, how are we going to gather data? The next part of this is going to be then when and how will you be reviewing that data, review the metrics, and understand that when we review the metrics, you have to leave the judgment behind. Nobody clicked on that, or I didn't get any new customers. Doesn't matter. Just review it for what it might mean to you. Okay. So let go of the judgment behind the review. Once you've reviewed it and you've let go of the judgment, then you can start identifying patterns, right? What's working and what's not working. But when you're starting to try to identify patterns and what's going on with your marketing, understand that that really means that you're needing to ask more why questions. Well, why? Okay, I didn't get anybody to sign up for my thing. Well, why? Right? How did I create, promote, or allow that to happen? Did I not share it enough? Right? Just be honest with yourself and ask those why questions. Then when we've done that, left all judgment behind, asked more why questions, now we can go and compare it to our goal and say, okay, I'm here at 6 weeks and I'm no closer to my goal. So how do I need to turn up the volume here to go and to still achieve this objective that I've set for myself? And part of that is assessing the time management, right? Did you and again, being honest with yourself, were you able to put enough into this to actually make it successful, right? Where do you need to get outside of your comfort zone? And that's time management, guys. Is a lot of times it's not about, in fact, it's never actually about time management. It's always about priority management. But to have the right priorities come front of mind, we have to be willing to be honest with ourselves and say, okay, am I actually making it a priority? What other things have I made a priority right now that maybe I need to hold off until I can get my business to where I want it to go? right? And I'm not suggesting that we go and, oh, sorry, family time, it's gone, right? Not suggesting that at all. I'm just saying you have to be honest with yourself. And then next, though, identify those wins, right? And yes, we've got challenges, and then that honest assessment is going to happen, but get the pom-poms out, celebrate the wins. We do not, and I'm talking to myself, we do not celebrate the wins enough. All right. In fact, I can tell that we don't celebrate the wins enough because when I ask people to put in here what your wins are, how many live viewers we have compared to how many people put wins in, that'll tell you exactly right there what's going on. Okay. And again, I know not all of you can type right now. Maybe you're listening on but are you celebrating your wins enough? Right. And then lastly, just start adjusting those strategies based on your finding. Don't be afraid to make a pivot. I'm not saying stop doing what you're doing. We need to be persistent and consistent, but can you tweak it? Can we make it a little bit better? Right. So based on all of the information, the evaluation and whatnot, how can we make it better? And again, maybe what we'll notice in the patterns is that we're not actually aligned with our why, our reason. And so be honest with yourself on that. Right. And then the last couple tips on this, I've said it already probably 3 or 4 times during this, but I'm going to say it one more time. Be honest with yourself. The purpose of this is self-improvement, is improving your business. And so lying to yourself is not going to help you, right? I know because I do it all the time. But the reality is we need to just be honest and be willing to accept that. Second thing, document everything. Try to keep records, keep tabs on things. Just have a way to, we need a scoreboard is a good way to put this, right? So document everything, have that scoreboard available to you. And then the other thing is we need to seek more external input, right? Maybe it's time to be part of a mastermind program where you can get honest input from somebody that cares about you, right? Get a mentor, find a peer, a business buddy, a business bestie. I'm hearing that a lot out there. I love that idea. So, all right. And I know I'm a little bit longer today, probably 6 minutes over, it looks like, but I think we've covered some good ground here today. So I want to hear from you guys. What are your key takeaways from today and maybe even overall? But what are the 3 important insights or lessons that you've taken? And you can put it in the comments, but the real reason I'm asking you guys this is I want you to write this down for yourself because I want you to put this somewhere. The whole idea here is that you are able to implement these strategies and ideas and put it to use for you. I loved every moment of being able to share this with you, but I also know the truth is the only value is in what you do with this. There's no value to it if you do nothing with this. Okay. And that's okay. That's your choice and your prerogative, but you've taken the time to be here. So why not list these things for yourself? So you could certainly list them in the comments. We appreciate that. And then, yeah. Okay, great. Those are the insights. Now, how are you going to apply them to your marketing efforts? What are you going to do differently now than you would have before you were part of this program? And then what actions can you take immediately to start making progress? And when I say immediately, like when we're done, when I say, okay, thanks guys, we'll hopefully see you tomorrow morning. What are you doing today at 1:15 Central Time? Right now, what are you doing this weekend? What are you doing next week? Those are all important things too. All right. So you guys can, again, welcome to put that in the comments there. But the most important part is you write that down for yourself and maybe just write that on the back of a page from the roadmap if you printed that out. So you have it all in one place. But that's what I've got for you guys. Now, we talked a little bit about this yesterday, and I want to go into a little bit more detail here. So tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock Central Time. So if you guys are on the West Coast, yes, I know it's going to be a little bit early, but 6 a.m. tomorrow morning on the Pacific time zone, 7 a.m. in the Mountain time zone. But at 8 a.m. tomorrow, we're going to do this marketing roadmap workshop. And I think this is a really cool opportunity. I believe, and I know that we're going to have an amazing time doing this. And yes, again, like I said, there we go. Thank you, Julie. I will add that in 1 second here. Okay. So again, the goal was that you could have these 2 45-minute sessions with me and the roadmap and template, and then go do this on your own without any other help or support or guidance, right? And again, I'm guessing some of you showed up, got the template, maybe you're listening in the background, kind of like, yeah, whatever, totally fine, right? But here is what I know about busy business owners like yourselves. You're busy. You're trying to find customers. You're handling existing customers. You're managing all the other hats that you wear, right? And I also know the reality is most people don't make the time to take the steps needed to have this roadmap, because we say things to ourselves like, well, I just don't have time to do that, right? The reality is we need to slow down to speed up. We need to take the time. We need to make the time to create a roadmap. All these things we talked about, have you thought deeply about them? And this doesn't mean that you've got to go sit on a mountainside or go lock yourself away in a cabin for a weekend or a week. Like an hour, right? Tomorrow morning, 3 hours, we're going to go deep into this stuff. And so in those 3 hours tomorrow, we're not only going to save you the time of doing it on your own, because it's going to take longer to do it on your own, right? When you have other people giving you feedback, you get sparks, you get ideas, you go faster, but you're actually going to get it done. And I'm not guaranteeing that everybody will have an 8-week roadmap by the end of the 3 hours, but I am guaranteeing that I will be by your side to make sure that that gets done. And I think 95% of us are going to have that 8-week roadmap by the time we get done tomorrow. And so I'm going to be there to guide you. You're going to have perspective of other like-minded business owners. So if you're interested in this, just go over to osg.link/RM workshop. And I'm going to put the link here and go over there and sign up. Now, I do want to make sure that this is something that we can really give people the individual attention that they need, as well as the group perspective. And I know that I can't manage more than a certain number of people. And so right now I feel really comfortable with 10 people. We've got one signed up already, one signed up before we even got started. So thank you very much. You know who you are. And in fact, she just put it in there. I'm looking forward to it. Thank you, Karen. And so go and check that out. Maria, thank you so much for the question. Is the roadmap different than this workbook? It is not. So in this workshop, we are not going to cover anything new. We are actually going to experience and work on building this together, right? So we're going to go step by step through the template and the workbook, and go from there. Now, Julie, thank you for sharing this. I so appreciate you being willing to share with us. I really want to be part of the workshop tomorrow. However, I have my 5-year-old grandson. I won't be able to attend. Okay. And this is, thank you so much for saying that. I understand. I had to pick a time that I could do this and really focus and be able to help you guys out. I know tomorrow morning is not ideal for everyone. Now, that doesn't mean that I'm not available to help you. It's just tomorrow's going to be the best time for sure, because again, we can also bring in some mastermind style stuff, but I am available to help out beyond that. So I can, if you're interested in that, just shoot me a note. You could say me here in the comments right now, or just ping me. I will probably send out a follow-up email next week where I'll put this in there, but I will make myself available because I do believe this is really important for us to make sure we have a plan going into the rest of our year so we can finish off strong. And Karen, thank you for sharing this. Karen says, of all the training I've done, this is way more value than $97. This plan can and will change my business. Smiley face because I have him. Frown where I can't attend. Just clarifying. I totally get it. Thank you for clarifying. I didn't read that into that, but maybe somebody else did. So I appreciate you clarifying that, Julia. And Julie says, I'm getting Julia and Julie. Sorry, my bad. Names are never my forte. I'm getting there. I know both of you differently and individually, and yet I'm melding it all together. I do need more help. Okay. So Julie, I will put you on my list and we'll reach out and just show you, give you another opportunity. But again, I just want to make this available to you guys because I believe this can be really impactful. If there's any other questions about it, we can go from there and let me know. But Maria, hopefully I answered your question. Is the roadmap different than this workbook? Yeah. So the workshop tomorrow is really to go in and experience, do it together, make sure it's done, set out action plans, potentially go deeper in areas where you need more specifics, where I couldn't just cover it with everybody here, that type of thing. So that's what we're doing tomorrow morning. It's going to be a huge opportunity. Again, this is going to be the best time if you can make it happen. Obviously, the 5-year-old grandson, very important. And I would never ask anybody to turn away from that opportunity. Every time somebody talks about, I don't have grandkids yet, so I cannot wait for that, to be honest with you. My son's only 13 though, so I got a little time. All right. Okay. Maria says, yes, checking schedule, see if I can sign up again. So this is going to, just to give everybody timing again, this is going to be from 8 a.m. Central Time to 11 a.m. Central Time. And yes, that's 3 hours, and we'll have some breaks, and it's not going to, 3 hours is going to fly by, but we're going to cover so much ground in 3 hours. Okay. And if, again, like I said, I can't guarantee that everyone will have it done, but I can guarantee that I will make sure that everyone has it done before we get to November. Let's just say that, right? I can make that guarantee as long as you're willing to do the work, right? I can't do the work for you, but I will push as hard as I possibly can to get you to that finish line. Okay. So sign up for that. It's only $97. So hopefully that's an investment worth your time. In fact, I'm going to change. I'm going to go cancel on hopefully. And I'm going to say, I know that's an investment that's worth your time. But it's got to be right for you. So I'm not trying to force it on anybody. Does that help? Did I clarify that? Okay. And then a couple last things, just really quick for you. You'll see in a lot of the stuff that I've got the word fun in there, and it's capitalized. The title of my book here is The Fundamentals, and with fun in all caps. We got to have some fun, guys. I understand that business can be stressful. It can be serious. Sir Richard Branson, in his book, Everything I Know About Leadership, said this: fun is one of the most important, and he highlighted this, and underrated ingredients in any successful venture, right? So the villains out there, the stress, the overwhelm, they want to steal that fun from us. Don't let them, right? George Bernard Shaw said, we don't stop playing because we grow old. We grow old because we stop playing. So again, that uncommon mindset. So I just want to encourage you guys, just go out and have some fun. Understand that being a business owner, yes, it comes with lots of stress, overwhelm, anxiety, if we let it, right? It can also come with the most fulfillment. It can be, I can go pick up my son from school. I can go, I'm talking about me. I get to have an opportunity to have conversations with Karen and Julie and Marie, Becky and Julia and everybody, right? All of you guys, the opportunity that I had to be around you guys. It's fun. I'm having a blast. I get to shake pom-poms for crying out loud. How cool is that? You guys get to do the same thing. You get to make cool things. You get to connect with people. Karen, you get to be around the horse world, right? So I just want to encourage you guys, make sure that you have as much get to do on your list as you do have to do. In fact, how can you take some of the have to do's that you have on your list and reframe them as get to do? And I think if you want to become that superhero that's having fun, I just want to encourage you to be 3 things here. Be a proactive learner, meaning you're open to new ways of thinking. You're open to these uncommon mindsets that I love to talk about. You're willing to try new things. Oh, that seems woo-woo and crazy, Aaron. Okay, cool. Try it. Then tell me I'm crazy afterwards. That's fine. And that's what I didn't do for myself. And so that's why I'm so passionate about that, is I made judgments on it first and then never allowed it. And then once I did it, I was like, oh man, I've been missing out for 45 years. Gosh, I don't want that for anybody else. So be a proactive learner. Think about how you can do it, and let go of the quick fixes. There's no fun in that anyhow. All right. I know you got to run, and I'm well over and getting to the hour here. Let me hit this last two things here. Investors in growth, understand that there's value in investing in yourself and your business. You got to be looking at the value, not the cost. Cost doesn't factor into your decisions when you're becoming the superhero business owner that you are. And then lastly, be an accountable action taker. Accountability, right? And we can talk about getting accountability from others. I love to make sure that people are moving forward, and I do ask a lot of people from time to time because I know that they have it in them. But the reality is, the only person that's important when it comes to accountability is you, right? So be accountable to yourself. Do what you say you're going to do. You know that your power lies in the thoughts and actions and belief that you have when you really get down to the core of it. Okay. All right. Well, that's what I have for you guys today. If you have any questions about the workshop tomorrow, about anything here, please let me know. You guys know how to reach out to me. If you're not in the Facebook Messenger group and you want to be part of that, because there's been some other great conversation in there, like Julie sharing her packaging stuff yesterday, let me know and I'll make sure that you're in there. But I hope this has been valuable for you. Thank you for letting me take a little extra time today. And I hope to see most of you guys tomorrow morning at the workshop. Have a wonderful day.